So how are you feeling today? Elated, excited, happy, depressed, disappointed, being in melancholy? Yes, these are all emotions. And you also know that emotions are the basis of our success or failure also in our life. Hi, my name is Alok Joshi. I'm the student of public speaking and human behavior. And I welcome you all to this show, Alok Joshi, Talk to Rock. And why did I talk about these emotions? There's a very special guest in front of me that deals with emotions only. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of me sitting, Mr. Manikandan. Mr. Manikandan is emotional well-being coach. So I take the opportunity to invite Mr. Manikandan to Alok Joshi Talk to Rock show. Welcome, Mani, to this show.
Thank you. Thank you, Alok. Thanks very much.
So because we all feel emotions, we all sometimes acknowledge, sometimes because we are so accustomed to our emotions, we don't even acknowledge, but we just behave according to them. So as if the emotions, they have entrapped us and we don't have any other ways to get out of them. Mm-hmm. So Mani, how is the journey? It means what did you do in your professional life? And then what made you to start your journey being an emotional well-being coach?
Okay. Yes, Alok, good question. So it didn't all began like one fine day I decided that I'll do this. It was a journey for me as well. So for about, if you ask me in terms of career, about close to 2 decades, I was in the corporate world, in different companies, different jobs, different profiles that I have done. But what fascinated or what caught me was, though I was in the corporate world, I used to get connected to people very easily. You know, be it the subordinates, be it the people working with me, even the managers, anybody for that matter, peer group or the higher ups, I just can get along with anybody. Initially, I felt, okay, fine. So it's good, right? I mean, people used to say, though in office and corporate world, you used to have that kind of politics. People have some issues. Usko ye mila, mujhe nahi mila. All those kind of, the corporate world is altogether the big. But I used to get along so easily with anybody. Mila to mila, nahi mila to mila, nahi mila. It's okay. The next moment, I am in again friendship with them. So that went on for a long time. And people used to, like I was saying, I used to help people in whatever way I can, like be it by, because they used to share the personal things with me, personal problems, personal challenges that they're facing in their life, be it in their career, relationship may. And I used to just say, why don't you do this? Maybe this will work, or you can do such kind of things. And then they used to, some of them used to try and something used to work, and they used to come back to me and say, hey, this worked for me. This is nice. Thank you. And I used to feel satisfied. Right? I could say something and then you could do and something changed for you. That gives me satisfaction. And that went on for long. And then at a certain point of time, I said, okay, it's good. But somehow something kicked in me to say that this is like my calling. I like doing it. I can do it for as much time as I want. It's like my passion. You know, then they say passion. Passion is something that drives you every day, that motivates you to do things without seeing your time. Watch nahi dekhne ka pada, oh, it's time. No, I can go on and on. Right. Then I realized I should start impacting more. I should reach out to more people. And then slowly I evolved. I should say it is not one fine day. Like I said, it evolved from that process to where I am today. And this is nothing. This is like maybe a one step forward. I have thousands and thousands of steps to take before I reach my destination. So
yes, absolutely. And because when you organize and then you recognize your passion, because recognizing the passion is quite easy at some point of time when you become mature. But then organizing this stuff to work on that passion, it's very much important. Mm-hmm. So, Mani, after having decided that you will definitely work on these things, so what's your experience? Like, how long have you got into this particular segment? And what's your experience with people? Can you share some of the experience of people whom you work with and they got some benefits out of it, and then they decided and they watched the real shift in their emotional well-being after this?
Yeah, sure, Alok. So, if I may say, if you ask me the time period that I'm in doing this, I would say unofficially it's been for long. I don't know when it started off, but maybe officially seriously into this, it's been a year that I've been dedicatedly doing this and helping out people. And one thing which most of us lack, which we are all emotional beings. Even I am an emotional being. It doesn't mean that I am coaching people. It doesn't mean that I don't get emotions or I am like always the same way. Kuch bhi ho jaye, I'll be the same steady. No, it's not the case. We go through everything. But the idea is, initially when you introduced, you pointed out, many a times emotions control us. Emotions empower us so much that we don't know what to do. Right. And that's where the challenge is. And that's where the things become very hard when you don't know how to manage your emotions. And be it anything, be it anger, be it frustration, be it terrible, be it kind of the kind of negative emotions, even for that good emotions, happiness, you're always overjoyed. For no reason, you are like laughing and then people think, what is the problem with this guy? So everything is a problem. So the best thing is to be in a balanced way and you learn to manage your emotions. And that's what I basically teach people who come across to me. I do one-on-one coachings, I have my programs, all that. And with people, like you asked, they have seen extremely good results when they realize this thing. So most of us have the notion that emotions are not learnable. Ye to hota hai, I get angry. I mean, this is a situation, this is a thing I get. All this comes naturally to me. Yes, they do come naturally. In fact, emotions come to us. Science has proved that emotions are built in us even before we come into this world. Even before we are born and we come out of our mother's womb, we start feeling different kind of emotions. We sense different things. Right. So that's how powerful emotions are. So right before our birth or coming to the world till our death, they are there ingrained in us and you cannot escape it. That's right. Why that's part of our brain. And because those are the things that I speak about. I don't want to talk about now in my webinars. How does the brain work? Yes. How is that related to your heart? And what are the different types of emotions? From where does the emotion come from? Scientific data and information is what I share. And what happens if you don't really manage your emotions? Right. I mean, I didn't think it was so very deep until I went into this topic, learned from people who preach it, who teach it. And also, like today we are in the Google world. And as I learn, and I get into deep, I feel that it's profound. It's profound and many of them are not aware of it. And that's where I need to help people to become aware of it. And so that they can lead basically a meaningful life, a fulfilled life. And like which everyone wants to lead to, but they don't know where is the problem. And then that's what. And to the last part of the question that you asked, yes, definitely these teachings and these things which I help people with, they have seen extremely great results from what they were, the kind of mind blocks, the kind of challenges they were facing to today what they are. Maybe the practice that I teach, that this is the things that you need to do, or the importance of not just emotional, what is the importance of physical well-being or physical things, how is it connected to your emotions? All that I talk about has really helped a lot of people, and I can see the transition that is happening in their lives.
Right. And as I also analyze myself, many times we also become angry, and most of the times when we are praised, we become very happy. And we want to do those things repeatedly because of this dopamine rush. But see, when seeking a help from an emotional well-being coach, many times I think, okay, it's okay. There are some emotions and we have to go through those emotions. But when do people come to you? Because this is the routine thing. On a routine basis, we don't know how many emotions we go through day in, day out. But when seeking a help from an emotional well-being coach, how do people come to you? Or when they come to you, when they find some problems, or they just out of the curiosity, they do come to you?
Okay. Very good question, Alok. Because I would answer this in both the cases. But if you ask me in percentage wise or in terms of if you want to split, it would be mostly when people are really having some tough time and they don't know what to do, come out of it, and what to do at this point of situation, or there are some blocks or that kind of worry or that kind of which they don't know how to manage these things. Right. And that's where most of the people come. Only certain number of people are like, okay, let me see what it is, or is it something interesting, or is it like curious, or maybe even to what I talk. Like many people attend my webinars and they see that, oh, Mani's talking something which makes sense. Maybe I should learn more from this. More from him, and then they come, which is a lesser percentage. Yes. But more of them who are really having some challenges, who are having some mind blocks, and who want to get better at handling their emotions. And those are the kind of, because they know there's a sense of realizations already in them. Like, no man, something, this was not me. This is not my real true self.
Right.
So I should do something about it. And then maybe this person can help me. And that's where they come mostly.
Yes.
And that I'm able to help them. That gives me, again, more satisfaction when I'm able to do that for them.
Right. Because what happens, it's still in India and even in the various parts of the world also, this is still a taboo to go and visit any of the person like who's related to mind, who's related to thought, who's related to mental illness or mental state as such. There's still, if we see people reaching to psychiatrists, they reach at a very later stage.
Yeah.
When even they should reach over there at the initial stages so that they can be cured faster and with the better results as such. So in this case, does it also happen with you even that people reach you when they have reached the extreme state of their emotional suffering?
Yes, I would say. You're right. It's a taboo. We are in India. It's not still being... it's not easily spoken. You cannot speak that I have some mental problems or I'm facing some kind of anxiety or depression and all those things. People don't openly talk, be it in homes, be it in our society. And as a result, so many things are happening these days. I mean, I think the picture of that is slowly changing. If you ask me, kids, college-going kids, school children, anxiety. I mean, for what? Exam. I don't know what to appear for this exam. What will happen? Will I be able to score? Will I be able to pass? Okay, it's just an exam. It's not your future. It's not, I know our education system in a way has felt that if you don't succeed in this, that's an end of your life.
Right.
And people are not trying to get that. I mean, basically the kids of this generation, I feel, are very weak in handling such situations.
Right.
That's one area I've been always thinking on. I mean, how to get them emotionally stronger at things. And definitely, yes, this has been a case wherein people come at different levels and people have come where they don't know what to do. They've gone to that level. When I really can't help because I'm not a psychiatrist, because they need a medical attention. They need a medical help. I can tell them, I can counsel them, I can teach them. These are the ways I can try to bring in that. And that's like okay, they see the changes. But if you're to that extreme levels, like you said, kuch nahi ho raha hai. Panic attacks, anxiety attacks, they don't know what to do. Then I'll have to guide them to a psychologist or a person who can really take care of them and who can help them, and which requires multiple visits, multiple sessions, and take them through the process. But at a very high level, if I can do that, if I'm able to grasp, because once you talk to the person, you know at what level they are in. Are they really able to understand what you're trying to? Are they resonating with what you're trying to say? That gives me a picture. Okay, fine. I think I can handle this person, or I can help this person in whatever way I can do. Through taking through my program also. Sometimes I talk to them on individual level. Sometimes I take them through my program, which is like I have a 1 month kind of a program. So I teach them various aspects, and that's how it works.
So in your if we say in your total journey of 1 year, when you have totally indulged into teaching people about emotional well-being, who are the people in the society who are most affected with emotional disturbances? If we see about like right from the infancy to the elderly age, people are suffering from emotional disturbances. So when you see your clients, who are the most affected people who seek your advice?
Okay. Like I said, look, the college-going kids, students are all today facing a lot of tensions, depression, anxiety, all that they go through, which is true, which is of today's generation. But people who really are at the moment whom I handle are the working professionals, who are professionals who are not able to deal the stress and things in their work life, in their professional life, which is also hampering their professional life as well as their personal life. They're not able to balance that out.
Right.
And the pandemic, Corona has added more to it. Yeah. Earlier, there used to be at least a separate between professional and personal life. Now it's like both at home. And I see those professionals are the primary people who are like trying to, don't know where to balance it out. Right. Don't know where to get that gap. Don't know how to differentiate things and then mix up things. And then things are jumbled up. They don't know where to come out, where to break that barrier. Where do I keep it separate? Right. Earlier, at least you used to travel so that chalo office mein gaye, wapas aate waqt, leave the office ka, ghar pe aa jao, spend time at home. But now that's not the case. It's mixed up. and then you stretch your time for long hours, and weekends doesn't seem like a weekend. Earlier, weekend used to be a break time for people. Right. But abhi though the companies are putting pressure, people have to work on weekends as well. So
yes,
all this I see as jumbled up. And then mostly people who are reaching out to me, or the clients that I have, are the professionals who are in the 9-to-5 job, who basically need the help. And I'm helping them in all the possible ways that I can to get them out of this kind of mindset and then start seeing things in a new way.
Right. You actually read my mind. Otherwise, had it been the different situation, I would have come to this also. Because as a working professional, it becomes very difficult for the people, and now in people who are in the private jobs and government jobs also, you don't find that peace of mind, which used to be the notion a few years ago. So people are so much suffering from the emotional stresses, because how do we handle the bosses? How do we handle the imposter, our colleagues, right? People, when we feel so much stressed out, we don't find the jobs suitable for us. We're not enjoying the job. So this all brings up that mess which goes in our mind, and then we definitely garbles everything.
True.
So, right. So how do you take your programs? In what format do you take your programs? It's a group counseling, is the webinars, or personal consultation sort of things?
Yes. So, look, I do all of that. I mean, if you ask me, it's not one single thing, because everything doesn't fit for everybody.
Yeah.
If you ask me. So I try to match all of that. So like, if you ask me, some people would not want to attend like kind of a group programs, or kind of understand very things. They want to be spoken at an individual level.
Right.
They are much comfortable to share what they are going through, whatever it is that I mean, because they might be in a deeper state where they don't want to open up. And that's absolutely fine. So each individual's perspective is different, and we need to respect that. So I take up accordingly. So I have my webinars, which I normally do, and people attend that. And then I offer them that either you can take a one-on-one coaching, you can come to me, we can talk, or you want to take up a program, which is like a 4-week program. And then there is like a group sessions. And even that has individual one-on-one coachings, but not as frequently as you can do like this. Right. And there we can talk, but that's like for a shorter duration during the program. So I keep all the options open. So that whichever suits to the person who wants to opt, and whichever they are comfortable with, they can take that up. And I'm more than happy, because I need to reach out, I need to help them. So be it any means, be it one-on-one, be it group coaching, be it whatever I could do my best.
Absolutely true. It has to be the tailor-made as per the individual needs as such. Yes. So now, having involved into completely being from the corporate, and then getting this as your liking area, and now you're taking it ahead. So what are your plans, like 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line? How do you see this passion of yours to be expanded? To which extent?
Interesting question. Okay.
Obviously, so, this has to expand. But yes, as far as your planning is concerned, how do you see yourself in 2 years, 5 years down the line?
Yeah. So, one thing is, which is again, like at one point we mentioned, reachability, reaching out to people. Many of them in today's world have this kind of stress and problems that they have reached out to, and they are having the problem. But many of them don't even speak out. They just live with it. They don't seek for help, and they don't even know where to go and seek for help. So the biggest thing that is required is for the awareness, which has to get across to more and more people. So I am seeing what are the ways that I can contribute in spreading that awareness. And if you know, the emotional intelligence thing is like a buzzword which is catching up slowly, not just abroad, even in India. There are a lot of EI coaches, they're coming up. Things like mental issues or anxiety, these things are being even spoken about by even the film stars or celebrities. To people are talking about, okay, at one point of time, I had these kind of challenges. It's coming out more and more in open. So people are getting aware, oh, it's not just me. People who are successful, people who are like rich, they also had some at some point, or even now they have that kind of problems. And I feel that this is indirectly contributing to what we all want to drive as such, to getting people aware about it. And same like how you have you have a headache, not headache, or maybe something more, you have a fever, you have a pain. What do? You go for a doctor, you take consultation from him, you seek advice, you take tablets, you take medication. Similarly, this should also reach to that level, which may not be immediately, like you said, 2 years, 3 years down the line, but the work with a lot of people involved in it keeps going. and collectively it will become easier for people to access and people to be open and then work on their own emotions and then be a better person.
Right.
I see something like that. It's not a 1 or 2 year thing. I'm seeing it as a long-term vision wherein every person who needs help, it should also be reachable. And government and all those things, policies are coming in that frame. You see, we have a National Mental Health Day. We have a lot of things that are coming out,
Right.
which was not there earlier. And these things are definitely going to add to this kind of movement, which is slowly shaping up around the world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your plans and your efforts. Before we move ahead towards the end, just one advice for our viewers, irrespective of whatever the individual requirements are there. What would you suggest to be emotionally stable or emotionally happy? What one tip you would give to the audience?
Okay, definitely. There are so many, in fact, if you ask me, which it depends. But one tip which applies, I think, mostly for anybody, be it whatever things that you're going on, is one single tip, be it students, be it in your profession or something, is see the context, expand your context. So normally what happens when we get into that frame of mind, we just go in that too much, too deep, that we don't know how to come back out from that. Once in a while, anger, that was okay. Like certain feelings and emotions, jealousy or kind of envying somebody or whatever, or that stress level. Like we are talking about the college and school students, exam. We go so deep that we don't see a world outside that. The context becomes, okay, my life, exam, my thing, this much. And then don't see the whole world behind it. You know, like that frog they say, right? Or you're in the well and then you just see that. So the one tip that I would like to say is expand your context. See the bigger picture of things. Okay, exam, fine. I'll do my best. Ho gaya to ho gaya, nahi hua to I'll repeat it again. And I'm not the first person, again, all that context, right? To fail or to be unsuccessful. Similarly, in the professional life, okay, promotion nahi mila, hike nahi mila. Okay, fine. I have other options. There are bigger things that I can do. Okay, now I can look for other options. I can speak to my manager. I can see what I can improve my performance on. What is that I need to work on? Kya karna hai? You know, that expanding the context is somewhere kind of missing. So in whatever emotional challenge that you go through, expand the context. And people in relationships also, right? Husband and wife, kuch argument ho gaya, do bar, teen bar. You get into that context and you see, no, this is not working out for me. This isn't, that's an end. Let's separate. But then after some years down the line, then you think, yeah, that was much better now. I mean, it would have been at least I have a person. You know, so that expanding context, they could see the bigger picture. Okay, I at least have somebody. How many people are there who are still unmarried?
Right.
People are searching for a partner. People who are getting aged and not getting anybody. At least I have somebody to fight with, you know?
Yes.
So expanding that context will really help as one tip, if you may ask, for most of the situations that we had.
Right. So extremely useful tip. And this has to be practiced wherever you are in the office, you are in the home, you are in the society, you are a college goer, a school goer. It has to be practiced as such. Even at the deathbed, also you are suffering with your emotions more than your physical conditions. The suffering of or the emotions of leaving the world, that also reigns supreme. So even at deathbed, also I think emotions are the most important or crucial factor in our psyche, which is going ahead, which is going behind in each and everything perspective we look at. So thank you very much, Mani, and we'll definitely request you to please share your details so that viewers can reach out to you whenever they are having some emotional disturbances, some emotional issues for their corporates, for their individual requirements. Also, please do share the accessibility points with you so that viewers can watch that in the description of the video and then they can reach out to you.
Sure. So Alok, I'll share my social media links across with you. You can post it in the video. Along with that, if anybody is listening, want to drop in an email or something to me, my email is pretty straightforward. My name at yahoo.com, manikandan@yahoo.com if you want to drop it.
Right.
And you want me to share my mobile number as well if anybody wants to reach out? That would.
If you want, means
yeah. I'm open. That's okay because so my mobile number, anybody listening to the audio, listening live or in recorded, my mobile number is 9962 889390. Anyways, I'll share. Alok knows it, but anyways, again reiterating 9962 889390. You can reach out to me anytime. Send me a voice note, send me a WhatsApp or text, and we can get connected. And Because these are some things, Alok, it's not like the main reason to share is not just for me getting known, but the main reason is when people are in those kind of situations, you don't really wait. Like if you want to do a course, for example, you want to develop your communication skills. Fine. Aaj nahi to kal jaake we'll go find out better institutes. We'll enroll, and then the program starts maybe after a month, 1 week. You can wait. It can wait.
Yes.
But when you really face those kind of challenges, which is bothering you, which is annoying you for a long time, you need help at that point.
Absolutely.
And at that point, you cannot say, okay, fine, I'll sleep over this, and after 10 days, I'll start thinking about it. No. So that's one of the reasons I thought it would be good that I can share it. And if anybody can benefit out of it, anybody wants to reach me out, please feel free to reach out. And if I can be of help for you, nothing like it. I feel immensely grateful.
This reminds me of one incident where I read somewhere on the internet a few years ago. There was a person who went to commit a suicide on Niagara Falls. And he was about to jump. Something happened and he just diverted that idea and was shouting for the help. And when he was rescued, he was asked, what happened to you? He said, because I was in a fury of committing the suicide, but while I was walking towards that point, something changed my mind and I just lost that track of committing the suicide. So I think it was just the shift in the emotions. How do you feel at that particular time? And anything can happen with you. So that's why you said it's very true that emotions can't wait. Emotions are so strong that it can do anything. It can harm you, but it can also take you to bigger heights also. So thank you very much for sharing this urgency when people have.
It can make a person, it can break a person.
Break a person, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much. So kind of you for sharing everything about yourself, because whenever the people become the coach, they always be wary of sharing their personal details so that they cannot be directly contacted. It should be channelized only, but so kind of you that you shared each and every detail of yours. We'll share in the description also for people to get the easy access to you.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for being over there. So ladies and gentlemen, the emotional well-being coach, Mr. Manikandan, was the special guest today. Emotions are very much important for our success as well as for our failures. Next time also, we'll be having one more mesmerizing guest who will be giving us several insights about the new niche, about the new workable area of our life. My name is Alok Joshi. Watching you smiling over there. We'll meet again with the same smile. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mani, for being here.
Thank you. My privilege. Thank you.